do every day. Ask that question. Is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? And so, where is our mentality? Where is our ability inside of who we are? When do we utilize what we have? When do we utilize um, our beings, our journey? And I sit here on a daily, and I look at that, and yesterday I was working with a guy, and he he was working on my vehicle, and we were there and we were talking, and we were sitting there, and he was telling me how he doesn't always feel like going in. He doesn't always feel like showing up, and that he's been doing it for like 30 years. And so, how do we start to use that kind of mentality? Like, how do you continue after you've been doing something past the goal? How do you continue when you know that the challenges are going to come anyways? How do you continue to go when you're on top, and you're booked all the time, and you're sitting inside of who you are, and you're wondering, what is it going to take for me to get down with these kind of challenges? And so, as we're sitting there, as we're talking, as we're getting into that kind of mentality and into that kind of energy for the day, I'd like to remind you guys of that. I'd like to remind you that the choices that you make, the people that you choose to be around, the mentalities that you want to have, they come from within you. They come from that ability inside of yourself to find a way to continue to want to achieve your dreams and your goals. And how do we start to do that? How do we start to achieve our dreams? How do we start to achieve our goals? I'm gonna have to reset this Facebook group settings. Yeah, it didn't bring on Facebook. All right, now we got it live. How do we start to put ourselves in a place where we have that ability to ask that question, that I ask every single day, is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? Because if it's not one of the three, I don't want it. When you're going to a position, and I mean when you're going to a place where you're going, and you might not be getting the best pay, you might not be getting the best position possible. How do you use the position that you have? How do you use the mentality that you have inside of yourself to continue to grind? What about like those people that spend many years working on a project, with the hopes of it is succeeding, with the hopes of it moving to somewhere where it starts to be utilized? And then I remember us looking back at those people, like, how did they do that? How did they get there? It was interesting. I was online, and there was a person, they were doing this car thing. They had a whole bunch of people with $100,000 plus cars on, and I look at this thing, and I'm sitting here, and I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, and I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is to sit down on a daily basis and talk into a camera. I know how hard it is to talk to a crowd, and I know how hard it is to work with people, and to put yourself in a place where you start to believe in you. And if you're going through that, this message, it might just be for you. It might be, this day you hear this message, and it touches you in such a way. And it's when we're sitting down with that kind of level, and I'm sitting there, and I'm watching this thing, and they got the $100,000 car, the 200, the 400,000. But you know what the $2.2 million car was? It was a YouTuber. Okay, you hearing what I'm saying? It was a person who for a long time made the least amount, and that's what happens if you really get on that track, if you get on that page, if you sit down inside of yourself and decide what you truly want. If you sit down and you start to grind, if you start to get down to that level where you're utilizing your gifts and your talents, then of course you're going to get paid for them. Of course, one day it might not be 1 year, it might not be 2 years, it might not be 3 years. But if you continue to put yourself on that kind of a journey, if you put yourself on that kind of a path, if you start focusing to that level, if it, it might be the day that you start that. It might be today that you start to believe in yourself and you start to believe in your gifts. It might be today that gives you that ability to, put yourself into that kind of mentality. It might be in that kind of a place where you get your position that other people didn't achieve. It might be when you're going through your challenges at that level that things start to become possible. That it might be that those hard times that you're going through, they might be actually setting you up for better things. They might be setting you up for the ability. And I look at it and I see my podcast, I see my website, I see my YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, Instagram. You getting what I'm saying? I'm on every platform, and people say you can't talk for an hour about focus, knowledge, and discipline, but here I am every single day grinding. And it's when those people that say, or they come back, or my almost 300 my 3,000 followers on Facebook. This is for you guys, okay? This is for the community that we're building. And that question that we're asking ourselves every day is, what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? This is for the mother who has to start off on her own and believe in herself, or the husband who has to go out of his way to find himself because the place that he wasn't letting him be who he is. And the abandoned people in this world. This is for you guys. This message that I'm talking about, this story that I'm sharing, is for you guys. And I enjoy your support. I enjoy your community. I enjoy being a part of this thing that I'm building, and I'm realizing I'm building something that's bigger than myself. Okay, I'm building a place for us to start to believe in ourselves, to start to believe in our mentalities, to start to believe in our abilities. And I remember being in darkness. I remember doing 6 years of meditation by myself. I remember writing things down and driving customers and being in a place where we got to get down with our focus. And it's interesting. I was sitting down with somebody yesterday, and they had gone through a lot of life challenges. They had gone through a lot of things in their life, and a lot of people didn't treat them well. And I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting down with them, and anybody who knows me knows that if they're going to come to sit down with me, that they're going to have homework. And how do we continue with our homework inside of ourselves? The best teacher that you're ever going to have is you. You hearing what I'm saying? Your best teacher is going to be inside of who you are. It's going to be deciding what's positive in your life. It's going to be deciding the people that help you to bring yourself closer to you. And so I'm sitting down yesterday, and I'm working with this guy who's been going through some challenges, and we're just sitting there, and he's getting ready to go after some education, and he's been through a lot, and we're sitting there, and I'm talking to him. I start explaining to him, the skills that you learn in school, the skills that you learn to write things down, to read things, to pick up books and actually sit down and use your mind, or to put yourself in a place where you can study, or like record the things that you want to study, or to put your notepad in front of yourself and to start to write and to start to see these things happen for you, is what it's about. Okay, it's about gaining that ability of self-mastery, that ability of self-mentality, and that ability of being oneself. And so when you start to smile inside, and I have another person that is really dear to my heart, and yesterday they were saying, yeah, I'm really happy today. And it's not when we have difficult days, it's when we realize that more of our days are turning out positive. It's when the things that we're wanting to be attracted to us are coming. And I always said that the most attractive trait or on the planet is focus, and this is the reason why. Because when you start to focus, when you start to get to that point where you believe in yourself, the universe is a great thing. It has the ability to move things out of the way that aren't for you. And if you're focused to that point, where positive things start flowing in your direction. People are going to start looking your way. They're going to start saying, wow, that's what separates that person. That's the reason why I like that person. That's the reason why the universe should give or yield to that person. It's not when you're sitting down and you're saying poor me. It's when you're saying I'm going to find a way to get up. If I can't find a way, I'm going to make a way. So I sat there in the car. I sat there trying to figure out how to do it. How to hit rock bottom in such a way that I could pick myself up. How could I sit there and how could I go through that? And what I found in that time is that even those times are a joy. Even the places, even the things that we go through. And I'm sitting here creating a community across the world, uplifting people from here to Singapore, to Japan, to Australia. I see the people in Poland, the Netherlands. I see people across the globe, Brazil. I see people in Puerto Rico. I see people across the world that are hearing this message, that are hearing this message from here to Guam and the Philippines. I see you all. I see you connecting. I see these connections building. And one day I will be there. I will be in those places. I will go to Germany, Nigeria, India. These are just in today's, okay? And I'm talking to those people who want to dream big. I'm talking to those people who want to focus to that point, that want to be a part of a community, that want to hear this message that I have to share. And that message that I have to share is if you wake up every single day, deciding that today I'm going to have positive, that no matter how the challenges I face off against, I'm going to overcome them, that it's worth hearing this message today. It's worth hearing that question that we ask ourselves is what I'm doing today, is it motivation, is it meditation, is it inspiration? If it's one of the three, if it's not one of the three, I don't want it. And so, let's connect on that level. Let's get that kind of vibration going. Let's get those people that are around to sing that part of who we are. And I believe that you can make things happen around you from being yourself. When you start to use your mentality, when you start to use your gifts, when you start to use your abilities, that you have a magnitude, that you are a mass within this universe, that your being holds weight. And a lot of people look at me and they say, how can you do that? How can it be possible? And I remember sitting there and doing meditation, and I see the people, and ask yourself a question: are you able to sit down for an hour straight in lotus without even leaving it? And I look at the people, they call themselves strongs, but where's the mind? Where is the ability inside of ourselves to focus at that level? Where's the ability to sit down and to become that professional in the profession that you pick? See, that's what I'm talking about today, and this is why it's for everybody, this message, because if you're in a profession, if you're in school, if you're in a place where you want to let the things that aren't bringing you towards positivity die, and you want that ability inside of yourself, because what happens when you let yourself be you, the things that move out of the way, they move out of the way or they die. They no longer become a part of who you are. They no longer hold you back. They no longer have an ability to have a threshold over you. And it's not that they're not difficult. It's not that we don't face off against them. It's not that they're there to stop us. They're actually there to help us to grow. They're there to help us to focus to that point where we're stronger than our challenges. And so if we're focusing on that level, if we're getting down with that part of ourselves, if we're truly sitting down and we're truly starting to grind, if we're truly wanting to become who we are on the inside, then we got to use those skills that we did in school. We got to use those abilities to write things down. And I remember sitting inside Chrysler's room on a Friday, and every Friday we had a business meeting. And one thing that we all had in common was we all were required to bring a notepad. We were all required to come to work with a notepad. We were all required to write things down. We were all required to put them in front of ourselves so that we could become professionals. Are you doing that in your profession? Are you utilizing the skills that you learned in school? Are you utilizing the things that you have? Yeah, sure, I didn't graduate. But if you came and you saw my study skills, and you saw the way that I take on tasks, the way that I sit down, the way that I utilize what I have, you would say, how did you learn that education? And that's exactly what happened. I was working for Chrysler. I was working with other people. We had closers. We had people that were doing that. And there were people that were coming to me and asking me how to do the credit application. You might have to try things 2 times longer. It might take you 2 times the amount of time to start what you want to begin. It might take you 2 times the ability to focus to that level. That are you focusing to that level? Are you giving yourself that place? Or are you giving yourself that ability to use your gifts, to use your talents, and to use your mentality? And it comes from within who you are. It comes from within your being. It comes from within your vibration. And when we start to vibrate with that kind of focus, the universe takes note. You hearing what I'm saying? The people around you, the positions that you get, the people that you want around you become a vibration. Okay, they attract themselves to you, because when you're focused, you become really attractive. When you're focused, you become really determined. When you're focused, you start to achieve your dreams, your goals become possible, your abilities inside of who you are, and they call that strength. So how do we focus to that point where other people do that? They see you as that strength. And I want you to see you can do it too. You can crack that code within yourself. You could become that person you want to become. You could face off against those challenges. You could get to that place where you believe in you, where you believe in your mentality, where you start to believe in your ability. And it takes only sitting down just a little bit of time each day. It takes giving yourself an hour a day, giving yourself 10, 20, 15 minutes, just an hour to sit down, an hour to exercise, an hour to clear your mind, to give yourself the place for you. There's 24 hours in a day. Do you spend one on yourself? Do you spend one by you? And sometimes it might be having the right kind of people around you that you feel like you're spending time by yourself. It might be having somebody just sitting down with you and laughing with you, that you're spending time by yourself. It might be working with your team. It might be working with your bands, your artists, your mentality. It might be in a place where nobody else can go. And that's where this guy lives. You hearing what I'm saying? That's this level of focus. This is what I do on a daily basis. And this is how I grind. Okay, I focus to that level. I sit in front of these cameras on a daily basis talking my mind. Are you doing that in your day? Are you doing that in your professions? Are your professions being utilized in such a way that you are a master of the things that you talk about? And people come in sometimes and they'll sit down and they'll ask me for an energy reading. And they'll ask me and they'll say, can you do an energy reading for me? And so when they're sitting there, they're like, okay, how does this work? And how do you focus to that point? And how are you able to utilize it? And so then all of a sudden I go into an energy reading for somebody. And then they're sitting there and afterwards they're like, holy cow, how is that possible? Well, because I focus, okay? That's why it's possible. Because I sit down and I grind. Because I sit down when other people would rather be out doing this or that, and I'm doing meditation. I'm doing videos. I'm getting out there. I'm promoting the ability for motivation meditation to become a thing, creating community. Almost 3,000 people. You know what I'm saying? It's inside of that. Okay, what do we do to get there? Okay, what do you do in your profession every day? Do you get up every single day asking yourself that kind of question, where you know that you have your daily grind, where you know you have that ability inside of who you are? And I know that focus is the most attractive trait on the face of the planet because I do it every day. I drive after that. I drive after that ability within. I drive after that ability within our mentality. I drive after that ability within who we are. That thing that other people call impossible. That place that nobody else wants to go. And I'm telling you, you can get that. The universe can yield to you if you could put yourself yet but in a place of focus. The universe can yield to you if you can yet but put yourself in a place where you believe in you. Where you start to believe in your ability, where you start to believe in your mentality. This universe was built for you. This universe was built for you to be a part of it. This universe was built for you to overcome your challenges and to believe in you. Do you believe in yourselves? Do you believe in your ability? Do you believe that you have what it takes? And so this is about building you up to that point. It's about getting you to that place. It's about giving you the ability to start to become equipped with those kind of gifts, to be equipped with those kind of mentalities, to be equipped with those kind of abilities within you, where you start to believe in yourselves. And it's not easy, okay? It's not going to be easy for you to believe in you. It's not going to be easy for you to face off against that kind of thing. It's not going to be easy when other people tell you it's impossible. It's not going to be easy when you're sitting there and others don't believe in themselves. It's not easy to overcome challenge, okay? It's not easy for you to hear this message. It's not easy for you to see you're worth it and to believe in yourselves and to believe in your abilities, okay? But I'm telling you, if you sit down with yourself, if you sit down inside of who you are, if you truly start to sit down inside of your mentality, if you start to sit down inside of your ability, if you start to focus to that place where you start utilizing what you have inside, then it becomes worth it. And you are worth it. Your abilities are worth it. Your mentality is worth it. A lot of people, they hear this message and, it might come at the right time. You might be hearing this message right now. You might be sitting down asking yourself, how can you do it? How can it become possible? How can we sit down and start to believe in ourselves? And I'm telling you, those skills that you learn in school, those things that, they said, how did you learn those study skills? How did you sit down? How did you write? How did you read? I remember the day that I sat down and started to read. I remember the day that I picked up Steve Reed's book. I remember the ability to sit there and to read through the whole night. I remember going from a 4th grade reading level to a 12th grade comprehension overnight. They didn't understand it. They did a test. The next day they retested me. Okay? I went from a 4th grade reading level to a 12th grade reading level. All right? Overnight. Okay? You can do it too. You can believe in yourself at that level. You can believe in yourself that you can learn from you, that you can be a self-starter, that you could be a person that other people seek to be like, to want to achieve, that what you can do inside of you can become that focused, but you cannot let what they say to you stop you. If you allow yourself inside of you to build you, if you allow yourself inside of you to uplift you, if you allow yourself inside of you to become that kind of light, then who has the ability to stop you from shining? Nobody. You hearing what I'm saying? And so I sat there all night long and I read that book. And I sat there. And I sat there and I said to myself, if I'm going to figure out how to lift weights, I'm going to sit down and read this book until the sun came up. And I remember 270 pages overnight. From a 4th grade reading level to a 12th grade reading level. What does it take for you to get there inside of your professions? What does it take for you to sit down and use those kind of skills? What does it take for you to believe that you're worth it, that you can do the things that other people call impossible? And I sat there and I recognized it, just like I did when I sat down and remembered that the best friend inside is like reading a book. One thing about reading a book that I really enjoy is that you become your best friend with the story inside of the book. Okay? When you sit down and you read a book, when you sit down and you start to read a book, you become best friends with yourself inside of the book. Can we take that for ourselves? Can we start to want to become our best friends? Can we start to want to uplift ourselves? Can we start to want to other people to see our gifts, our talents, our abilities inside of who we are? Can we want to be uplifted to that level? And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about becoming best friends with yourself with that kind of strength. And a lot of people who see me or see my mentality, see my ability within, they know something's different. The thing that they know is different is that once I decide to focus, there ain't no stopping it. Okay, 2 years ago I started talking about this. All right, before I started talking about this, I wrote about it for 6 years. Okay, and literally 6 years ago I did a video. Okay, I did a video and then I stopped and I started writing. I sat down, I studied. I used the same skills that I'm talking about today. And I've been grinding on this thing. Over 100,000 people I've talked to in 7 years. And sitting down here and I'm communicating with people across the globe, communicating with you wherever you are. If you're hearing this message, if you're in this mentality, if you're in this place within yourself, if you want to believe in you, listen to this message, listen to this ability that you can do that. I see changes happen and I see amazing things happening, and I see the people and the places that I want to go and the things that I want to do. Eventually, the people that want to be around me are going to eventually be with me. They're going to be in a place of vibration where it vibrates outwards, where they see inside of themselves that it's worth it, that their abilities within who they are has a place, and it comes from within our own vibration. It comes from within our own mentalities. It comes from our abilities to sit down and to continue to grind and to continue to be who you are. And that's why I tell people that if you start to focus in towards positivity and you start allowing the negativity to leave your life, if you start putting yourself in a place where your mentality takes over. You hearing what I'm saying? Are you doing that? Are you letting yourself be controlled by the things around you, or are you stronger than them within who you are? And so when people start to feel that, when they start to see that, when they start to vibrate that, that's when you get to become a gift in the universe. That's when your gifts start to be sought after. That's when your abilities start to be sought after. That's when your mentality starts to be sought after. And I just started focusing. I started asking myself, Marcel, what is it that you know how to do? What is it that you can do? How is it that you can become that best friend within yourself? How is it that you could start to love yourself first? How is it that you could put yourself in a place where you could dominate within your mentality? And I sat there inside of a sauna and I said, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Either I am strong enough to stay in here until I choose to leave the sauna, or I'm going to die. You hearing what I'm saying? I wanted to be the best in the world at meditation. I wanted to be able to be at a point where other people sought me after. I wanted to be at a point where other people looked inside of that sauna and they said, man, that's the guy. That's the guy who meditates. That's the guy who knows how to focus to the point where he gets down with himself inside, where other people come to seek out how to do it from him. Other people start to seek out how to do it. And you know what? There might be this program or that program, but when you are the best in the world, when you are on top of your game, it ain't about somebody else. It's about your journey. It's about your path. It's about your level of focus inside of yourself. And this can apply to any part of your being. This can apply to your companionships. This can apply to your families. This can apply to your jobs, to your professions. And I'm telling you, when you believe in yourself, when you believe in your abilities, when you focus to that point where you allow the things that aren't meant for you to move out of the way, that's when positivity starts to show up. That's when the ability inside of you starts to show. And I'm telling you, this thing that I'm creating, this mentality that comes out, this ability is inside of all of you. And I'm not looking at this just as one person. I believe that each of you have gifts. Each of you have talents. Each of you have abilities to overcome challenge, that your being is worth it, that your vibration is worth it, that your mentality is worth it. But you got to let yourself focus. You got to let yourself get down inside to the point where nobody else can doubt that you are who you are. And it's that's where the person who sits down even when they're not getting paid and then all of a sudden gets a $2.2 million car comes from. It's that place where you're waiting around for followers and people like that, but you're not. You're truly grinding. You're creating multiple sources. You're working with downtime. Okay, what is it that you're doing in your downtime? I'm going to talk a little bit about this, okay? What is it that you're doing? Are you exercising? Are you on top of your diet? Are you writing? Are you studying? Are you manifesting? Are you speaking your mind? What is it that you do? What is it that you do daily that separates you from other people? What is it that gives you the upper hand in your life? What is it that sets you aside? How do you utilize your mentality? How do you utilize your ability? And each of us have that place. You know what I'm saying? It's inside of you, my friends. Hear me out. When you are truly focused, you will attract the things that are meant for you. When you are truly focused, the abilities inside of you will radiate outwards, the things that you want to achieve. Don't worry about the results, they'll come. If you put yourself in a place of focus, if you put that first, if you put yourself into a place where joy is on a daily, where things start turning out to become better on a daily for you, then the results will start to show up on their own. See, people have been looking at these things the wrong way. They've been looking at them as I want it all now. When do we want the real things that are meant for us in our lives? Are we able to focus to that point? And see, that's why I can be patient sometimes, because I know that what it's worth is worth more. What it's worth is an ability within. I look at those things and I look at how amazing the challenges that I've been through are, and I'm telling you, they're worth it. Your ability for you to be yourself is worth it. It might take you 2 years, it might take you 5 years, it may take you a decade to reach that place. But if you're willing to continue to grind, you will reach that point where you will become that person that you want to become. You will reach that point where you achieve those dreams, where that manifestation starts to create a vibration. And so I'm doing that today for you. I'm sitting down inside of this profession, and now I'm going to start talking about the thing that I do every day. I'm going to start talking about the thing that I do on a daily, the thing that's called meditation, that breath work, that sitting down. You see, you just see it as a reflection of meditation. You don't see the time that I'm sitting down with my legs crossed, with my eyes closed, with the breath connected, with my eyes open, with the connection, with the vibration, with the music, with the sound, with the healing within, with the grind that I go through on a daily. You just see the energy that comes out. You don't see the points, the places, the things that are the fears, the emotions, the pains that you can go through utilizing yourself. And if you find a way to do that, that is your place of meditation. And so how do we start utilizing that? How do we start utilizing that part of our being? How do we start to become uplifted inside to a point where we allow those things that aren't bringing us closer to that to die? You hearing what I'm saying? We got to focus past those kinds of challenges. We can no longer let our pains hold us back, my friends. We can't let our fears hold us back. We can't let our emotions hold us back. We're greater than that. And I might be that only person who's telling you today that you're worth it. But I'm telling you today that you're worth it. I'm telling you today that you can achieve your dreams, your goals, and that the people who want you to be uplifted are going to be there. They're going to be there when you're facing off against the things that are bringing you towards positivity. They're going to be there when you're facing off against the knowledge inside of yourself, when you're sitting down and becoming that best friend inside of who you are. They're going to be sitting there inside of you. You hearing what I'm saying? It's when you become best friends with yourself. It's when you become best friends with your mentality. It's when you become best friends with your ability. And it's when you start to vibrate outwards from that place. You know what I'm saying? And when you really start to care, when people see the care that you have for yourself, okay, they want that too. Okay, they want that inside of who they are. They want that part of their being. And it truly was a reflection of self-love. And so when do you not just seek after self-love, but you are self-love? Hear what I'm saying? See, when we focus to that point where our teacher shows up inside, okay, when our teacher starts to reflect outwards, when our teacher within starts to vibrate from within who you are, when other people start to feel cared for you being who you are, when you start to access that kind of energy, you start to access those kind of people around you. In the world of meditation, in the world that I live in, we live by beautiful colors. Okay, we have reds, we have purples, we have greens, we have oranges, we have, blues. We have people who speak their mind. We understand how energy flows. We understand how the utilization of your being will bring the people around you that are meant for you. And so, how do we start to utilize it? And how do we use our gifts? How do we use our talents? Unless you sit down and study yourself. And so, when we're sitting down studying ourselves, when we're decompressing that, when, I was sitting down one day in a car and I had a customer in the car with me, and, I was talking about this. And he said, "Man, you cut so deep." And yes, I do. I most definitely do. This message isn't for the soft-hearted who doesn't want to be uplifted. This is for the person who wants to use focus. This is for the person who wants to learn how to be themselves, wants to learn how to be who they are on the inside. This is for those people that are out there trying to meditate, that are out there trying to reach the top in their professions, who want to become managers, who want to become those leaders within this world, who want to overcome those things. This is for you. If you want a story, you can go find a lot of other motivational speakers that are going to tell you a story. Because this isn't about that. This is about self-work. This is about self-worth. This is about self-ability. This is about enabling your mentality. It's about getting to that place where you overcome your emotions, where you start to have a clear thought process, where you start to memorize the things that your memories start to show up with this kind of mentality, okay? This kind of ability opens you up. You start facing off against the things. You start overcoming. You start attracting the people who are going to uplift you, that are going to bring you closer to yourself, and that are going to bring you closer to your ability within you. That's what this channel is about. Are you that strong inside of you that you want to learn about this? You can connect. You can leave comments. You can leave, how have I affected you? You hearing what I'm saying? And this is for you that I do this. I get down with this grind daily for that person who says, I don't know how to meditate. And yet they might have a whole bunch of people around them. When do you become the student inside of yourself? When do you become that kind of student where you allow yourself and your lessons? I look at these people, they go through these type of things within. They go through these type of places inside of themselves. And, they sit down and they listen to these lessons. They listen to these stories. And then they ask, how do I know me? How do you know you? You are you. You are the person inside of yourself. You hearing what I'm saying? It's just a lot of people get put into dark places. They get drowned with darkness. See, when a flower wants to bloom, okay, it requires a certain type of nurturing. Okay, when a true flower starts to become, it takes a certain type of energy. It takes a blossom within, and are we becoming that kind of light to shine, to where not only are we blossoming, but other people are too. And so here we are today. Here we are in this place of motivation, of meditation, of inspiration. And, I see those people blooming around me. I'm seeing those people blooming within. I'm seeing those people that are becoming a part of this network. I'm seeing these 2,000, almost 3,000 people, 2,700 people that I have for my Facebook group. And I see these people on the podcasts and the YouTubes, the Facebooks. I see you guys. And I want you to know that I do see you. And you're welcome to leave comments. You're welcome to say, man, this really hit me here. Because I know it does. Okay? I know it hits you inside of yourself. It hits you inside of your being. And sometimes it vibrates. And sometimes it vibrates in a way that it might wake you up. And that's what this is about. It's about waking you up to the student and the teacher inside of yourselves. It's about utilizing that part of your being. It's about utilizing that part of your purpose, that part of your journey. It's about becoming that kind of light. And that's what sets me aside, is that I'll continue doing this. I remember sitting down one day doing meditation, and my dad came to me and said, "Why don't you stop?" I said, you know, let me tell you one thing. I'll be doing meditation until I have my last breath. Okay? That's how down I am with my breath work. All right? Are you down with yourself to that level where you are going to be you? Where you are going to use your gifts, where you are going to use your talents, to where even people that might be close to you and telling you to stop don't have the ability to stop your knowledge aside of you. Let's go ahead and start getting down with this last part that I talk about on a daily basis. Okay? Let's get down with this place called discipline. Let's get down with this classroom that we are. Let's get down with this ability and with this mentality. And let's get down with this part, because as I work on this daily, as I grind on this ability inside, I sit down on a daily basis doing these videos before I sit down and do meditation to prepare myself for meditation. I think I might do a meditation visual for you guys today. I might do one after this video that you guys might be able to watch on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. That you guys might be able to hear vocal meditation. I remember walking in a sauna, staying in a sauna for an hour, walking directly into the steam room, staying in the steam room for an hour before even walking out. Where is your mind, my friends? Where is your knowledge? Where is your focus? What is it that you vibrate? Do you want to become on top of your professions? Do you want to become on top of your fields? Do you want to become the best in your relationships? And do you want to become the best in your friendships? You hearing what I'm saying? I'm talking to you, people that feel like you're not friends with you inside. I'm talking to you, people that feel that it's not possible. I'm talking to you, people who didn't think that it'd be possible that a guy could sit inside of a sauna for 5 hours before even walking out. I'm talking to you guys that say that it's not possible for you to achieve your dreams. I'm talking to you guys that say that it's not possible for you to achieve your abilities, that you're not gifted because of this thing or that thing. I'm talking to everybody who is alive. I'm talking to you, if you have focus, if you have knowledge, ask yourself that question. Are you disciplined to utilize it? Are you disciplined to get inside of yourself, to sit down with your grind, to sit down with your ability inside of who you are? I'm talking to you. And as I sit here, as I do every day, as I sit down with the shakes, as I sit down with the vibration, as I speak out my mind, as I prepare myself for meditation, I ask you that same question, is what are you doing today? What is it that you are doing today? Is it bringing you closer to motivation? Is it bringing you closer to your meditation? Not mine. What is it that brings you closer to you? What is it that uplifts you? What is it that brings that knowledge and that focus together? What is it that puts you centered inside of yourself? What is it that gives you the ability to be who you are? Yeah, this guy is a bad mother. You know why? Because I focus. Because I have the knowledge inside. I have the ability. When people sit down, they grind with me. The 100,000 plus people that I worked with, the education that I got within the universe, they sit down and ask and they say, how? And it's inside of yourself. So if your skills, if your company wants to improve, if you want to hear this message, if you want me to come and speak, connect. Because we're here. We can do this. We can get your teams with higher mentalities, with higher vibration, with viewing you as a part of their reputation. Okay? And as I was asked, as I was working for Chrysler, do you want to be a manager? I was asked, I don't want to be a manager until the day that I earn it. Because I enjoy being a salesman. And you know what else I enjoy? I enjoy being myself. I enjoy the people that I have around me. I enjoy the mentality that I have. I enjoy the ability. One of the parts of my vocal meditation is declaring that you are prosperous. You know why? Because when you believe in yourself, you start to feel grateful for the things that you have. And you know, I got this. Okay, I might not have all those other things around me, but I know the universe has that yield. It has that that ability to use the gifts that we have inside. And you know, this guy who slept in his van, who is going through challenges, who goes through things, that goes through grinds and has to wait and to be patient and to understand. This guy's got skills that other people can't even imagine. And how do we get down to that level of a grind? How do we get down to that place? What would that do for your ability? What would that do for your mentality if you start to believe in yourself the same way? You know, see, the gifts that we have inside, they're there. You don't got to change a thing. You got to be you. You got to use the skills that you have. You got to use that knowledge that you got going on up here. And a lot of people aren't kicking it. They're not hitting it. They're going to some place for somebody else to do something other than achieve their dreams. What about if the fact that they're going to that place is driving them towards those dreams? See, that's the type of world that I want to live in. That's the type of place that I want to build. I want to build a community who believes in themselves, who uplifts themselves, who overcomes challenges, who is in a place where they're asking themselves the question, am I disciplined enough that my reflection is radiating a reflection of inspiration? Am I disciplined enough that other people are becoming uplifted because I share this message? You hearing what I'm saying? And you can lighten people's load just by them hearing you. You can lighten people's load by them reflecting from what goes on within who they are. And it's worth it. You are worth it. And so how do we start to get there unless we allow ourselves to be disciplined? How do we start to get there unless we spend that kind of time like I'm doing today, sitting down and speaking your mind or writing your mind out or putting yourself in a place where you're utilizing your gifts, your talents, your abilities? How do we start to use that part of ourselves? You know, and that inside of who you are is what vibrates outwards. That's what other people see. It's that preparation that you put in. It's that knowledge that you start to acquire. It's that abilities that give you the place within who you are. And I'm telling you, it's worth it. You are all worth it. And, you know, when a person comes to sit down with me and they want to learn meditation from me, ultimately they're learning from themselves, because the first thing that I do is I tell them, you got homework. And a lot of people miss out on the homework. But you see, a life is homework. Our progression is homework. Our abilities within who we are is homework. And it takes that part inside of who we are to vibrate outwards. You see what I'm saying? I hope I'm uplifting you guys. I hope I'm bringing you closer to your ability within who you are, because I know I am. I know that I'm as confident in the things that I do, in the abilities that I have, the mentality that I have. You know, I listened to, for 2 years straight, I sat in the car every single day listening to motivational speakers. I said, I got to do it. I got to do it. I got to share this message. And as my message evolved, as my ability within evolved, I found the pains as a teacher. I found the joys within. I found the abilities to overcome things. I found the people that wanted me to be me. I found the people that wanted me to uplift them. I found the abilities within, the mentality, the ability to overcome challenges worth it. You all are worth it. Your abilities, your fears, your pains, your emotions. And I'm telling you, you're worth it. I'm telling you that you can achieve your dreams. I'm telling you that you can become an inspiration for other people, that they can see in your vibration. They can see in your ability. They can see in your mentality something that sets you aside, something that puts you in a place where other people can't go. But it's not when you're putting other people first. It's when you become centered inside of your discipline, when you start to know your lane, when you start to know your abilities, when you start to see the sky is beautiful. Okay? Another thing that I do during meditation is I say, I am beautiful. Okay? I vibrate that outwards. Because when we believe in ourselves, when we believe in our abilities, when we believe in our mentalities, we don't need to compare ourselves to anybody else, because we are who we are. See, sometimes becoming a student, and I have one who always tells me I miss being a student. See, there's never a place that we're not that student, though. We are always that student. We are that student cooking. We are that student becoming managers. We are that student in our mentality, inside of our ability, inside of our companionships, inside of our beings, inside of our vibrations. We are always that student of our lives. Our progression, our beauty, our evolution of our mentalities, of our abilities, of growth within who we are comes from that place. And it's when we evolve that we truly learn from those lessons, as we embrace the ability for things to open up in more beautiful ways. When we start to have those days that are more positive than less. When we start to have that positive mentality, when we start to utilize that being inside of who we are, when we start to sit down and we start to organize our finances, when we start to organize our diets, when we start to organize our health routines and our mentality. That is you being a student of your life. That is a student of your purpose. That is a student of your being. And that is what becoming an inspiration is about. It's about learning from you. It's about learning from who you are on the inside. You know, a lot of people lack in areas they wish they could improve. And it's when we become those improvements for ourselves, is when we start to see those and start to enjoy those parts of who we are. And you know, I'm really happy that I'm going to start to be able to spend a lot more time doing that. You know, I look forward to days where I can go sit down at the lake and meditate. I look forward to days when I can go to the courthouse and you know, do an exercise or you know, spend 45 minutes doing cardio, upper and lower body on the stairs and around the courthouse here in Prescott. I look forward to those parts and that is a part of learning. That is a part of growing. That is a part of being yourself, is to just be you. And so that's when the true student opens up. See, a lot of people, they call themselves biblical, but then when the opportunity comes in front of them for them to truly become that, they don't. And then they try to say for other people, but they forget about their own discipline. So how do we start to get discipline when other people aren't? How do we start to get discipline within our mentalities, within our abilities, and it's inside of who we are? You see, we all have hard days. Okay, we all have things that we are working on. We all have things that we're working through, and it only happens when you start to work on it for yourselves. You can't go to any teacher to gain this kind of knowledge. You got to gain it from within who you are, because ultimately that's where it circles back to. That's the point in karmic cycles. It's to learn from the lessons so you don't continue to repeat them. It's so that you can learn from the lessons so that they don't hold you back. It's so that you can learn from the lessons so that they no longer have a hold on you. And so that is what we're talking about today. We're talking about becoming disciplined, where karma doesn't hit you in the face. We're talking about discipline to where the cycles give you the ability to have the understanding, to have the ability to allow others to become uplifted, to where you uplift other people from being yourselves. And so how do we start to achieve that kind of place, my friends? How do we start to use that kind of being? How do we start to become that kind of dream? Okay? A lot of people forget about the very magic that they are. Okay? You know, remember those flowers. You know, I have one friend that is very dear to my heart, that she loves purple dandelions. What about that magic that the Creator brought of purple dandelions? Or another who truly enjoys the mentality. And, you know, I have friends from here to the United Kingdom. You know, I have friends around the world. I have people in San Diego, and, you know, I have one friend who's going for a doctorate. I have another friend who has been a friend of mine since 3rd grade. I have another friend since 12th grade. I mean, since 12 years old. I have friends that are just there because they know that I am a person that they want to be a friend with. And those people that want to truly be close to this, they start to recognize that they are special too. They are a very special person, the type of people that I have around me. And, and there's certain people that are very dear to my heart. And a certain person that I think about that's dear to my heart is care. And they know who they are because of what I'm talking about. Okay, they know who they are because they see their vibration in their families. Okay, they see their beauty within themselves, and it's a beautiful thing to see those people that are uplifted. That it's a beautiful thing to be a part of this. And all we could do, my friends, is be ourselves. Okay, when you truly be who you are on the inside, you really uplift other people. And I think about those people that have come across my journey and come across my path and that are a part of this journey, and I see them. Okay, I see how they played a role in me being right where I am today. And I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have those people. I have a tattoo on my shoulder from a ceremony that I went through. Okay, but it meant a lot more to me than other people realize. It meant that I had achieved that status of yogi. Okay, I went through a Bufo and Kambo ceremony. Okay, during Bufo, okay, I laid down and got right back up and went straight directly into meditation. I was with a DMT, which was administered by a shaman. I went into Kambo and it had no effect. Okay? Because my meditation is greater than that. Because the mind, the discipline within ourselves is what it takes. When we have that kind of mentality, when we have that kind of ability, when we go beyond those type of things and they can't hold you back, then, my friends, you are disciplined. And you can uplift other people with that. You can truly uplift people with being yourself. You can uplift people from going through the things and using the skills and the gifts that you have. I can only use the ones that I have. I can only show you with the tools and the skills that I have inside. But it's inside of you that it truly lays. And it's inside of me and everybody that teacher and that student get together one day. And it might be today. It might be the day you meet your maker. But I want a lot of people to believe in themselves, to gain access to that teacher within who they are, to gain access to that ability inside of who they are, that person who's beautiful inside of you, that you might vibrate, that you might sing from within, that you might light up the room, that you might light up the purpose, that your journey is worth it, that your path is worth it, that your purpose is worth it, that the things that aren't meant for you have the ability to move out of the way for you. Do you want those kind of dreams? I want to build that kind of community. I want to build that kind of place where we ask that question, is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? Because if it is not one of the three, what is it? Because I don't want it. You hearing what I'm saying? That's what I'm kicking. I only want to be around people that are vibrating a focus of focus, knowledge, and discipline. And when we become that disciplined, when we become that person inside of who we are, when we light up with that part of who we are, when we give ourselves that ability, that is when we utilize what we have. And are we doing that? Are we becoming that kind of discipline? Are we truly getting to that place where we have that kind of ability inside of who we are, where it lights up the world around us? As I close, I just want to say blessings, blessings, blessings. As always, blessings. And Namaste. I enjoy you all.